Spencer, and we're Married with Board Games. I like money, I'll admit it, but I don't like managing money. It's hard enough when it comes to my personal finances, but I don't know if I could ever get into playing the stock market or taking risks by investing. It's scary!
So, when we came across a game that claims to make you a master of finance, we were not only skeptical but also unsure of how much fun a game with this subject matter could actually be.
But, trying to be open-minded, we decided to give Bulls and Bears a shot to see if there are any truths to the claims and to find out if we could have any fun learning how to manage our investments.
Bulls and Bears is a roll and move style game for 2 to 6 players that teaches the basics of economics and investing to beginners and experts alike.
Players will begin the game with $100,000. And on each turn, they will roll the dice and move around the game board, resolving the spaces as they land on them.
Those spaces will have certain events, such as getting paid, going on vacation, responding to news events, and having opportunities to buy and sell investments in order to win and lose money.
The game is over when one player doubles their money and owns a home, life and health insurance policies, and a retirement plan. Now let's head over to the table and we'll show you a closer look at what makes up the game. So you can see it's a standard square board with spaces going all around it. And each space will have a different effect when you land on it. You have different colored pawns that you'll hand out to the players. And you have your dice. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to roll your dice and you start over there on the start space and then you move around the board. And whatever you land on, you resolve that space. In this game, money is represented by these tokens instead of like paper money, which I actually like having these tokens. They take up less space, but you can see like this token is $50,000. If it'll focus there. There are several of these tokens. I just brought out all the ones for the different denominations. So you have 50,000, 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, 500, 100, and then negative 10,000. As I said, there are a pile of these tokens, so you shouldn't have to worry about running out and not being able to keep track of your money. I just didn't want a mess of tokens on the table. I want to go into some of the spaces you can land on because they correspond with these certain decks of cards. One of them is the knowledge space. When you land on that, you can bet your money. You can bet $1,000 or $10,000, and you draw a knowledge card and you read it and you make an answer. So in this case, which market segment was at the heart of the financial crisis that shook the U.S. and world economy in 2008? Low-income housing or emerging markets? If it were me, I would probably bet $10,000 on A, low-income housing. And you flip it over, gives you the answer, and it gives you an explanation. I was right, hooray! I get $10,000. I get to keep what I bet, and I get $10,000. So that's how those spaces work, and there's a ton of those cards there, so it should be a while before you go through all of those. Another space is the newsflash space. This is my favorite space. When you land on that, you draw a newsflash card, and it's going to have a headline. Huge high-grade iron ore deposits are discovered in sub-Saharan Africa. What you're going to do now is you have the opportunity to buy and sell investments based on what the news says. And you're going to do that on your investment sheet. So you look at all the different things you can invest in. You've got fixed income, real estate, foreign currency, mutual funds, commodities, and stocks. And based on what the news is, you can buy or sell your investments. There's one investment sheet for each player. And if you need some help, there is a helpful list of investments sheet, and it explains what each one does. So British Oil, major international oil company, and it goes down and explains what each one is. You can flip it over and it explains each one of these, the value of each of these is $10,000. So when you invest in those, that's how much money you're going to spend. And then whenever you invest in it, you take one of these markers like this that says 1, and you put that on your investment sheet to reflect that you have purchased, you have invested in that. So with this news flash card, huge high-grade iron ore deposits are discovered in sub-Saharan Africa. Based on that knowledge, what should you invest in? I don't know. You've got gold, X resources, oil, anything you can invest in. So if you're smart and you know what to do, you can invest or sell things and you flip it over. And it's going to tell you what happens. And then it'll tell you, okay, if you have investments in these different categories, you're either going to gain money or lose money. So if I had invested in X resources, I would have lost $2,000 per investment that I had in that commodity. Otherwise, in the other ones, I would have gained money. So that's how that works. You're buying and selling based on the news, hopefully making the right decision for that specific news item. Next is the wild space. You just draw a wild card and there's no telling what's on there. In this case, lawsuit. Your car dealer sold you a lemon and you decide to sue him. You hire the best lawyer in town. Unfortunately, the car dealer has given you all the information you needed before making your decision and the jury feels you just made a mistake. And then you have to pay $1,000 for the lawyer and $3,000 for a new car. So you lose money, unfortunately. Some of the other spaces, bank, you're going to review your portfolio, and depending on how diverse it is, you can gain or lose money. And then you can collect your investment and dividends. So you're going to look at your investment sheet and whatever you've invested in. Let's say I have euro. I'm going to yield 3% of one euro currency thing. And so in this case, 3% of 10,000 would be $300. And you would add it all up based on what you've invested in, and that's how much money you're going to get for collecting your interest and your dividends. Other spaces or bonus, you get extra money, insurance, housing, retirement. Those are all the spaces you have to land on in order to get those requirements in order to win the game. So you have to have a health and property insurance policy. You have to have a retirement plan, and you have to have housing in addition to the $200,000 to win the game. All right, so let's start with the look and the physical aspects of the game. When I look at this game, it looks like Monopoly. Do you agree?
Yes and no. It's not nearly as colorful as Monopoly, honestly. But I just know that the way this looks, I think it's so different from what the game actually is.
Right, no, okay.
First look, it does not set you up at all for what you're actually going to be playing.
Right, and we'll get to that, the gameplay of it. But it's square, and you've got spaces all around it. And I think there might be a point to that.
Start, and it's got
it's almost got like a go that's like do not pass go.
And it's got a kind of jail.
Yeah.
And,
so I think the thought behind that, maybe this is just me trying to get into the mind, is that it looks familiar to people that aren't necessarily into the hobby. It's something to kind of relate to.
Right. I kind of get the feeling that their main objective was creating a game as a vehicle to help teach these concepts. Yeah. So it's the graphic design, and like you said, the physical appearance of it is not anything special. It's not bad. No.
And it kind of makes sense for the style of the game it is. But then, as you said, when you get into the gameplay, it does start feeling kind of livelier, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I started feeling a lot more competitive.
All right,
than I thought that I would.
So on that note, let's get into the gameplay.
Yeah.
We kind of hinted at it already. This game is fun.
Yeah, we had fun with this, and I have to tell you, I think the funniest part was just the most fun part was just the fact that we were like, I don't know how to adult.
Exactly. Yes. We had to make all these.
I don't know if these are basic concepts or not, that we're all supposed to know this stuff, but I'm going, I don't know any of this stuff.
Well, but it was great because it was a learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many occasions where when we would try to make a decision based off of one of those news events, we're like, well, surely it's this.
Right. Yes.
It was common sense tells me that it's this.
It's the exact opposite.
So it's like, oh my gosh, we actually are learning something here.
Well, and then there's the knowledge squares where you're learning vocabulary and jargon.
Right.
And that was really interesting.
Right. And because of that, though, it was fun. It was educational in a fun way. I didn't feel like it was beating you over the head with learn this. It was doing it in a very fun way.
Yeah.
And one of those ways was
going, I might walk away from this feeling more as capable contributing member of society.
Exactly. Well, and one of the ways that it does make it fun is the engine building aspect. And I think that's one of the reasons why we as people relate to board games and engine building games in particular, because it does have a real world application to it. And in this case, the more you invest, the more you diversify your portfolio, the more directions that you go, the better you build your engine and the more money that you make. Now, on that same note, though,
the way your face lit up, though, when you went, this has engine building.
Yes.
When you realized that, you positively lit up.
Yes. And so, but, the more you invest and then the more, like, say you put on the stock market, that gives you more opportunities to lose all that money, too.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. So then I found out you lose a lot of money by investing in the Dow Jones.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
And we found ourselves time and time again, I cannot believe how much fun I'm having. Mm-hmm. I did not, Lara can tell you, we were open to reviewing the game, but every time we would talk about it, I'd kind of make some kind of joke about it, not expecting it to be very fun because, become a master of finance. Who wants to do that? Some people do.
I will be totally honest, okay? My degree is in the arts, okay? And I only needed one math to...
aspects of modern math.
I took aspects of modern math. That teaches you, voting systems and stuff. I couldn't even pass college algebra. So that's what had me intimidated about this game and made me go, I'm not going to enjoy this. But it wasn't too mathy. Yes, there was some math.
So that's the thing.
Figuring out your
returns.
Yeah, your interest.
Your interest. So it is it does present itself as kind of overwhelming. Oh my gosh, every time I collect interest, I have to calculate percentage. No, because everything is worth 10,000, and so if it's like 5% of 10,000, it's just going to be $500. You just add 2 zeros onto what the percentage because you're taking it off of $10,000 for the most part.
5,000.
Was it 5? It's 500.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
See, but you get it after a while,
Art.
and yeah,
Art.
so it's not too much of a complicated thing to calculate at all. Now that's fun. Reacting to the news events is fun.
And it's interesting.
Yeah.
People really do have to be wheeling and dealing constantly with what's going on.
So not only world events, but politics, what Congress is doing affects everything.
That informs me more because I do like politics, like dramas. I like The West Wing. I like Designated Survivor and Madam Secretary, and they do talk a lot about things having to do with the stock market. And I've always been like, why are y'all, you're not regulating the stock market, but they do have a direct effect on it. And so now I understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you, bulls and bears.
Yeah. And so, all that is fun. Now, there is one thing that we didn't particularly enjoy, and that is what a lot of people don't enjoy about Monopoly. Well, not the only thing, but is the roll and move system. Now, because you're moving based solely on chance. Whatever you roll is what you move. Now, in order to win, you have to have, the life insurance, the health insurance, property insurance, and then a house. But you can only get those by landing on those spaces.
Yes, and there's only one.
One of each around the board. So there are 4 spaces that you have to land on, and you can only land on those by rolling. Right. There's nothing to add or subtract to your movement. And so, Lara, we played for an hour and a half, and it wasn't within the last...
I was rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
But I could not get an opportunity to purchase those things. I kept landing on luck.
Yeah. So she, it wasn't even until the last 10 minutes of the game that she got a house.
I purchased a house, and you had all the insurance.
Right. So that the thing with that is, that is something that is holding us back on this. Now, you can set a time limit. So say, at the end of an hour, whoever has the most money, whoever's worth the most wins the game, which is essentially what we did because
we went
it was
by
getting
net
late.
Worth, and I think that's what a lot of people do when they play Monopoly. But with the way that we game now, being hobby board gamers, we really wanted to see ourselves fulfill those requirements.
You want to meet the end game and not just simply have a time run out.
And so I wish there had been opportunities in cards that we drew. Maybe not the news flashes, but on knowledge or luck. Well, no, maybe not even knowledge. I guess it would be on those are luck cards, right?
Well, no, it's the chance cards.
Well, I mean, it's chance, but their version of chance.
Yeah.
But if there could have been an opportunity through one of those to be able to purchase a house or the insurance, because like you said, I never had the chance to land on those.
Yeah, so, we do like to have closure, be able to meet all the goals, but you can implement a time limit to really, set an end game for the game. But I think that about covers it. Do you?
Right. I think we can comfortably say that Bulls and Bears is a very fun game that just happens to be educational at the same time.
Bulls and Bears is just another example of why you shouldn't judge a game by its theme. The idea of becoming a master of finance gave me nothing to be excited about.
But when you get the game to the table and really get into the trading and making decisions based off of news events and managing your money, it actually gets quite exciting, especially once you really get your engine going.
We'd like to give the game top marks for the way it made learning about investing fun and exciting, but the roll and move mechanism does bring down our rating of it. That being said, we do give Bulls and Bears a 7, enough for us to award it a Dice Tower seal of approval.
We're going to box this one up for now. Check us out on Instagram, where we posted pictures of us playing Bulls and Bears with Martian Manhunter and Batman instead of the included pawns.
Thanks so much for watching, and I'm off to go buy stock in the Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.